Good morning, Flosstube. It's about 6:15 a.m. and the kittens have been fed, and I've made some coffee and properly creamed and sweetened it, and now it's time to make some cookies to take to my event later today. I'm going to make half a batch of shortbread cookies. Shortbread is right up there in the top two of my favorite cookies, and they're super easy to make. It's the only one that I make that I use a Cuisinart for, simply because it's pretty easy to get it put together. You're working with cold butter, and time is a factor today, so I have some things to get done before I leave in about a couple hours. So I'm only making a half a batch, so the ingredients that I'm giving you are half a batch. You just need to double them for a regular batch. It's a small gathering, and I don't want to bring any of these home to eat all of my lonesomes, because me and an empty house and a batch of cookies is not a good combination. So for this, I'm going to use a half a cup of butter, and I'm going to use 1.25 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to use 1/4 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and get these put together. I just want to mention that this is the blade that I use in my Cuisinart. So pulse this about 8 or 10 seconds until it's kind of pea size, and it will be perfect. So this looks great. It's okay if there's a little bit of flour on the edges, because that will get incorporated in once we started pulling out. Just make sure that you can pinch a bit across the side. So my original recipe calls for taking a generous teaspoonful of the dough and just rolling it a ball and flattening out, and then maybe poking the top with a fork. There's no real reason you have to do the poking with the top. It just gives it a little bit of interest. But I'm going to go ahead and roll these and cut them out. I'm going to do something small. So I pulled out a lot of my cookie cutters. These are vintage cookie cutters. These ones right here are from my childhood. These are even a little bit more vintage that I picked up, and I pulled them out not to use because they're really not very easy to use, but I think I'm gonna hang them, put a red ribbon and hang them on the tree there. And then I have a bunch of other possibilities. Here's some cute ones that I have pulled out that I've not used yet. These are mug hugger cookie cutters. There's a hat and a snowflake. This is also a mug hugger, and I haven't used it yet, but I think I'm going to save these for something else, although this is about the right size. I have a lot of other options, but these are really more for large cookies, and I want to do something small. I have some gingerbread. I have this cute moose. He's really cute. And, just a bunch of smaller gingerbread. That could be a possibility. But I think, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. The little gingerbread is cute, but I like to save the gingerbread cutters for gingerbread. I think somewhere in here I have a small tree. That might be cute. What I generally use, and are actually my favorite, are these cookie cutters here, and I use they're just a ruffle edge, and they come in several different sizes. Sorry for the glare of my lights overhead. Let's see if I can get a better shot. I think even though I like the tree, I'm going to stick with my tried and true on these and save the cookie cutters for Christmas cookies or something else that we might do later in Vlogmas. I did pull this out. Many of you may remember Pamper Chef. This is the gingerbread hometown train, and it hasn't seen the light of day for many, many years, but I think I might pull it out and make something. Not sure if it's going to be cookies, something to decorate, not quite sure. I like to use the method to roll out cutout cookies between 2 pieces of wax paper, and I have one of my prized cookie making possessions, and that is a green marble rolling pin. It's as heavy as I'll get out. I've had it since my early 20s. And just, a fun fact about me, I've had a green kitchen in every house I've lived in except for my very first apartment when I moved out. But so it was happenstance that the countertop in this house when I moved in and the tile on the floor is green. So that was one of the things I knew, that this was actually meant to be my house. So these are going to go into the oven a preheated oven at 300 for 30 to 35 minutes. And you don't want to let them get brown. You want to just let them get a little toasty. I've mentioned before on a previous cookie video, I prefer to use the old-fashioned 10 baking pans. This one is not as seasoned as my others. I use this one primarily for making almond roca, but it's a good size for what I'm doing today. And I just find these cook better. I don't worry about them sticking or anything like this, and I get the perfect cookie. So the sun is going to rise pretty soon. It's very beautiful, very cold morning on the canyon. Over here is Broken Top Mountain. You see that a lot in my videos. Peeking through the trees there. I don't know if you can see it. South Sister, Middle Sister. You can still see a lot of the burn scars. Everything that's orange there, that's not from the sun. That is where the fire was. Down the canyon. And it's frosty this morning, so I see a lot of frost on the ground. You can see, if you compare this to previous videos, you can see lost a lot of trees. And many of those there are also burnt. They just haven't come down yet. So I'm up on the upper deck. Here's a better shot of the sisters. You can see Middle Sister. There's South Sister. Again, you can see a lot of the tree damage. Corner of my house. Okay, this is the other side of baking. Cookies are in the oven. I'm going to heat up my coffee and clean up the kitchen. Another little task to complete this morning is to finish off my exchange gift. And this is a pattern from Buttermilk Basin. I'm pretty sure it's probably still available. And it's one of a series. And what I need to do is find a button or a jingle bell or something to put in the middle and then wrap it up and it'll be ready to go. There we go. I've got my button on. I liked the black one. I think that really set it off nice, although I did put a natural color one on the back. And the cookies are done and out of the oven. I just need to wrap that in cellophane and I'll be ready to go. And I even have one for breakfast. So the last thing I need to do is make a bag and wrap everything up, and I'm going to make a tag. Normally I put a label on the back of that, but I'm running out of time. So what I've done is I've taken one of these little wooden tags. I got these at Michael's last year. They come in a box of, I don't know, like 20 or 25, and they were super inexpensive. They're just a very thin wood. if I can find the box, I will show it later in the video. But basically, I just did a test stamp on the back of my paper here. Found that this stamp has an issue. One of the corners is kind of folded. So my first stamp was not complete, so I stamped the back, which I got it complete, but it's a little crooked, but that's okay. This is meant to be primitive. So now what I'm going to do, and for that I used an archival ink in the color of red geranium. This is acid-free, permanent, and waterproof. And now I'm going to use some distress ink. These are both from Ranger, and this one is walnut stain. It's one of my favorite colors. And I'm just going to distress this tag a little bit on both sides, probably. Let's see, let's get that over there. Just to give it, again, a little bit more of a prim look so that it kind of matches the package and the gift. So here's kind of what it looks like before it's distressed. And I hope I'm in frame. I'm kind of working with my overhead setup, and I set it up rather quickly because, like I said, I'm kind of running out of time. Need to finish this and get it ready to go. Hopefully I'll have enough time to do my morning stitch. If not, then I will do that later in the evening. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to write the year and our group name on this, and I'm going to put on the bag. So I like to reuse and recycle everything. This is a bag from a local boutique that I like to shop at, and I always save the paper, the tissue paper, and reuse it. And I'm going to cover that up with a cutout of this. So let's see, it looks like that is about, that's going to do it. So I'm just going to fold this and tear it. Again, I hope I'm in frame. I know it's a little bit close, but I'm just going to tear that, and I'm going to, let's use that so I can use that up. I'm going to tear that again. And just to give us a little more festive, I have some of these scissors. These are Fiskars paper edges. I bought a lot of these at the local Habitat. I'm trying to line things up here for $1 or $2. You know, individually things for paper crafting are not that expensive, but they do add up. So I like to pick things up whenever I can. This stamp here, I bought there, $2. I didn't really look at it closely. I may try to peel that off and remount this on something else so that it's more usable, because it's a cute stamp. I like the quilt aspect, and of course this is my quilting group. So I'm trying to kind of line up the corners so that it looks nice. Again, this is just to cover up that label, and it's kind of busy enough that if I miscut that, it's not going to make a huge difference. Okay, so all I need now is some glue, and I'm just going to put that on there and get things wrapped up. Okay, I know I said I was running short of time, but this was just looking a little bit too plain for me, so I went to my stack of miscellaneous things to see what else I could do to jazz this up a little bit. And this is a print. If any of you bought any of my preschooler Little Red books, this was a test print, and I save all of this stuff because you never know when it's going to come in handy. So I think I'm going to put it somewhere here, but it's a little too white, so I need to distress this up as well. So I'm just gonna, right here, let's get a little color in there. I'm gonna use the back of this so that I can get to the edges, and just kind of distress this up a little bit. Give it some color. I am not a junk journal expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like to play. I haven't really done anything for a while, and this right here is really just what I have available. I haven't unpacked anything. My sewing room, my studio is a mess because I was putting up shelving. I've really not finished that project. There, that looks a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Maybe a little bit more down here at the bottom. Anyway, so all my quilting, my wool, my junk journaling, all of that stuff is out there. And it's just hard to find. So I'm probably a little skewed here on the orientation, but I'm just gonna put some glue on that. In true junk journal fashion, I like to reuse what I have. This paper here, this was the label that came in the Bosel thing, so is this. So that's what that got printed on. Let's just stick it right there. Oops, got a little glue. Let's just put that right there. Give it a little bit of, you know, pizzazz. Let's see, do I want to put that there? I may want to. Let's make this, let's fluff this up a little bit. It looks kind of sad. I'm sure this came off of another package. The raffia is not, oops, didn't mean to do that. It's not behaving like I want it to behave. So do I want it there? I want it here. I think I want it here. So I'm gonna put some glue on that. And we're gonna stick that right there. Again, this is meant to be very prim, nothing fancy. Just a little bit of jazzing it up, and we have to fiddle with that a bit. So that's good. I did find the box of the tags. Here they are. Let's see if I can back this up without totally messing things up. Probably not. This again, as I said, was from Michael's. It was actually 50 pieces. It says $12.99. I think I got it like 60% off or something like that. So I don't know if they still carry these. Very inexpensive way to make tags and things to decorate. So I'll show that in my later video where it's not like making you nauseous because it's so close. Also did a little digging. Again, I've not got out any of my Christmas stuff at all. And I did find some red paper, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my little gifts. I have some brown paper, wrapping paper. It's actually stuffing from an Amazon box, and I'm going to wrap up the gift in the brown paper, and I'm going to use some twine to do that as well. So there we go. Hi Flosstube, it's Lori. It's later in the afternoon on December 3rd, the third day of Vlogmas. And I'm going to try to wrap up this video. I did a lot of footage this morning getting ready for my day. Spent the day over at a friend's house, a quilting friend's house, one of my quilting group. And we always do a luncheon this time of year, and we do a little exchange and just kind of sit around and enjoy each other's company. And I thought I'd share what I received in our exchange. So we make what I was describing yesterday. We make bowlies, and they're generally a little wool or some type of pillow to put in bowls. Tilly has been here all day alone with Fiona, so she's a little wild child right now. But we did our exchange, and we did kind of a white elephant with some dice, a little game, and this is the one that I received. Isn't that just gorgeous? So there's it's wool. It has a wool back, and there's stitching and beading, and it's just lovely. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here of all of the ones that we exchanged. And then we also did a little craft, a paper craft, and I want to share it with you. And if you're interested, I can talk you through how to make it. There's really no demo necessary. But what we did is we took a book and we folded the pages over, very similar to the tree that we did last year. And what this is to hold Christmas cards. And so you can just insert your Christmas cards here. And we folded the pages, and we put pretty Christmas paper, and this was a card from one of the members of my group. So it was the first Christmas card to put in it. It was really fun to do, so we just sat around and chatted while we did this. There's about maybe 150 pages. We even talked about, I'm going to decorate the outside. We even talked about how to put a clasp on here, and wouldn't this be great for every year when you do your Christmas cards, that you can keep them all in one place. So I thought this was a fabulous little craft to do. Again, it's a kid-friendly craft. And it doesn't have to be just Christmas cards. You could put photos in here, any memorabilia that you wanted to do. Basically, as I say, you just fold all the pages in half, and then your facing page and your end page, you will want to glue those down to the outside so that it stays open like this. I haven't done that part yet because I want to decorate them a little bit more. But I just loved this. I thought it was wonderful. And I am going to cover it, like I said, and put some sort of clasp on here. And you could even put something down the binding. So we had fun doing that. And as I said, it was a fabulous day. We had a big fire roaring, and just nice to spend time with friends. So thank you for hanging out with me this third day of Vlogmas. And tomorrow I have an appointment all day. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I may try to pre-record something, but I might not have time. So it may be that I do two the following day, or if I do something tomorrow, it would be really short, but hopefully I'll be able to get something out. So thank you again for stopping by. Hope to hear from you. I love reading all of the comments. Those are my favorite part of doing Vlogmas, is having an opportunity to chit chat with all of you about the season and everything that's happening. So until tomorrow, or possibly the next day, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.